So, let me guess. You clicked on this video because you think you might get ideas on how you can actually study so fast and save some time for other important things like side hustles, family and hobbies. Whether it is for an upcoming test or for your regular studies or maybe learning a new skill, this video covers everything. I think we've all been taught to learn the wrong way. Back when I was in my 8th grade, when I was 15 years old, I was always falling behind in my math class, term after term. At that time, I couldn't tell what was wrong because I was doing very well in other subjects like science, ICT, among others. Math was the exception. It kept me thinking and asking myself, what at all am I not doing right? Or what are my classmates that get top scores in the exams do differently? Because we literally used the same books and learning resources and the same subject teacher. So, after a moment of reflection, it turned out that I've been studying mathematics the wrong way. Like, my approach was that terrible. I used to spend more time doing maths, hoping that there would be a drastic change in my grades, but my approach all along had always been wrong. It was an eye-opener for me when I came across this write-up somewhere on the internet. I think I found that on Quora. The post basically walked me through the right way to study and remember in less time. This was a turning point for me in my academic journey, and I hope by the end of this video it does same for you. Now, why does this even matter, or why is this even important or a thing? The traditional ways of studying, that's the reading of notes, the highlighting, the seamlessly taking of notes, drawing of concept maps don't work, at least not when you want to study so fast and retain the material in your memory. You are going to waste time and still forget most of what you study and get overwhelmed going back to the same material over the 7th time. If you want to study so fast and get higher scores, the first tip I would recommend is that you change your mindset. The mind is so powerful, guys. What you think is what you become. So if you think you spend 3 hours to complete a task, then it will be conditioned in your subconscious mind and it will actually take that long to finish the task. On the other hand, if you think it is going to take less time, then it most likely will take less time. This phenomenon is called the Parkinson's law, and the law states that work expands to fill the amount of time allocated to it. How to do this? Set artificial deadlines, which is half your normal time. Another thing you can do is to use shock tactics or passive self-punishment or reward systems. What do I mean by this? Tell yourself, if I don't finish this chapter by 5 p.m., I will donate $20 to a course I hate. Or you could probably also study in public places like the cafe or the library with strict closing times. A study by Cambridge University proved that deadlines boost productivity by 400%. It is all in your head. So first work on your mindset. Having done that, let's talk about the next tip. Instead of rereading and highlighting of the textbook, how about you just close that textbook for a minute and then try to remember what you just learned? That is the only true way you can quantify your knowledge in that subject matter real time. I am talking about active recall study methods. Reading the notes creates this false confidence that we understand the concept until it is exam time when our brains go blank in the exam hall. Passive reading is a very big study mistake that a lot of people still do. You will be doing yourself a disservice if you are not using active recall study method. When you try to remember what you learn off head, either by trying to teach it or by trying your hands on practice questions or by using flashcards, it will expose the knowledge gaps in your memory and you will have the opportunity to prioritize these areas long before your exams. Active recall and spaced repetition will save you a ton of time upfront. If you want to learn more about these powerful study tips, I have videos on them. You can check them out after watching this video. Our third technique is the feynmantechnique, and it is named after a legendary physicist called Richard Feynman, and it's all about simplifying complex ideas. The idea is that you are teaching a 5-year-old. I have been doing this since my days in high school, and trust me, it is an absolute game changer. We will be using the 4 steps method to implement this. So first of all, you choose a concept you want to learn. Learn it and then teach it to a child or someone with no prior knowledge. It could be a roommate, a sibling, or a relative, or an imaginary 5-year-old, especially when you are in school, unless you just happen to be babysitting a 5-year-old on the side. Now, identify gaps in your understanding. When you stumble or get confused, that is where your knowledge is, and that is where the magic happens. Go back and review. Fill in the gaps in your understanding and you are all good to go. Okay, so we've covered how to learn and understand. Now, let's talk about how to optimize your study environment. And this is where we use the work smarter, not harder tip. I'm talking about the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. The Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule, states that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. This applies to studying too. What are the 20% of your activities that are giving you 80% of the results? You need to focus on those. I used to study in a chaotic dorm room surrounded by distractions. My phone was constantly buzzing and my roommates were always making noise. It was a nightmare. I finally realized that I was wasting so much time and energy trying to focus in a terrible environment. As soon as I found a quiet, steady space in the library and silenced my notifications, my productivity skyrocketed. To apply this, identify your high-yield activities. Which study methods are most effective for you? Is it flashcards, practice problems, reviewing specific concepts? Eliminate distractions. Turn off notifications. Find a quiet, steady space. Use noise-cancelling headphones if you have to. Optimize your environment. Create a steady space that is conducive to focus and be productive. Now, prioritize your tasks. Focus on the most important concepts and assignments first. Focus on high-yield concepts. Make sure you are not wasting time by mastering the easy questions, especially if you can answer them already. And finally, be selective about the resources you choose to use. You don't need all the learning resources or books in the world in order to understand a concept. This was a mistake that I used to make coming to medical school. Like, there were just a lot of resources that I didn't know which one to learn. So I used to learn whatever thing I laid my hand on, and I was wasting so much time. It is the same freaking concept across different sources, which is explained differently. You don't need all of them in order to understand the concept. Settle on the commonly used ones in your field and you are good to go. These strategies worked for me and I'm confident that they can work for you too. Try them out, experiment and see what works best for your learning style. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these techniques are you most excited to try out and which of them really stood out for you? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel to support what I do, and you can always get more study tips and life hacks on this side of YouTube. And share the video with your friends who are struggling to keep up. You can check out these other videos too. My name is Jaor and I am that guy.